chosen for this map. It's not because she's just really good at doing damage. They could have had a million other different ranged AP heroes if that's what they were thinking. So with the win on Battlefield of Eternity, the first ban will go again to BlossoM. They've chosen that, so we're going to have Cursed Hollow as L5's second map pick. It's going to be a map about rotations and macro, G-Clef. So global is going to be very important.
That's right, and BlossoM did not work out so perfectly. They wanted that burst. They wanted that burst and pickoffs first in the beginning of game number 1. It did work pretty well against L5. L5 actually had some struggles in the beginning, but after 10, they really had the sustain, the burst. They had more balanced comp. BlossoM really had to use all their heroics defensively instead, so they ended up losing the game in game number 1. But game number 2, feel like they can turn it around with the macro, and maybe if they want to go in hard team fight one more time, maybe this is the map they want to bring it out.
Could be. I feel like you really need to think about the priority of Falstad and Dahaka here, though, because if you can, even against a team that's better at rotating like L5 is, if you can try to force a draft because you have first pick and you were so important or so intent on prioritizing that, if you force a draft where you have global control, say ban one, take the other, even if they have a better team fighting comp than you, perhaps you win the game just by rotations alone, or at least keep yourself on even footing. This map is all about timings. We've talked about it to death, but it's just so true that when you have that timing into the second tribute and the boss to try to double boss or force a keep wall down, it's such an advantage. And I like the idea, again, to ban the Falstad, take the Dahaka. Ooh, they look to the Zeratul instead. They can take one no matter what L5 bans if they don't ban one, but the problem with that, of course, is that they could give one to L5, but if they ban one, it forces either L5 to remove globals entirely or let BlossoM have global control. So I don't like the Zeratul ban as much for this line of thinking.
L5 may just open everything because they want to take at least one. They don't necessarily have to ban one because BlossoM will take the other one, the Haka or Falstad that's open. So L5 can just ban Bala and open both of them, so BlossoM can only take one, and exactly. L5 will take the other one because they can use both pretty well.
Well said. That's part of the reason why I don't like the Zeratul ban as much, because you can remove globals completely instead, which I think would have been a better tactic. They're scared of the Zeratul, and if they run the a similar composition with Uther, for example, it's definitely going to be a big boon for them that Zeratul is no longer on the table, because I feel like that was the big issue. Cooldowns had to be blown early when Zeratul was harassing. And Uther was just notorious for having insanely long cooldowns on his heals. You know, like, if you think about the healing output of Malfurion, it's like actually more over time. The heal of Uther is really powerful because it gives you an armor now, and it's also instant burst. But you can heal 5 heroes about the same amount or more with Malfurion at the same time it would take to like heal twice with Uther, it feels like. So
I think Uther will be a lot more into the meta when Genji comes into the Nexus available. Genji with that Divine Shield is way too powerful with that Dragon Blade, just sweeping through everyone, picking up kills with that Swift.
So here's where you take Malfurion and Dahaka if you want to have any global presence. L5 is shown to in every game, and they're mostly a second pick team because they've basically won every series 3-0. Like, very rarely do they actually get first pick, unless they win the coin toss. They almost always take Malfurion and the best hero that's available for the map. So it's really going to be the Malfurion and the Dahaka to compete in terms of global rotations. And Dahaka is actually more global than Falstad.
That's right.
He can't hard engage like a Falstad can, but L5 would be pretty happy to take him. And yes, he doesn't have that same boss control, which is also super important on this map.
Falstad also takes a decent amount of time flying over the map and also has that maximum range of the flight.
Yeah, it's not 100% global, actually. They're going to let Malfurion go through and take the Dahaka with the Muradin instead. Perhaps try to tank choke a little bit. Remember, HGC is so much worse now than he used to be.
I think L5 is already thinking about Lucio, so they just ended up just giving Malfurion an anti-real instead. They don't necessarily have to have that sustained sustain from Malfurion when they can also have Lucio for the speed boost to chase the targets. They also have some CCs from Dehaka and Muradin already. So great line of thinking for L5.
Tyrael is again a really strong boss control hero. So you have Falstad, Tyrael, and Malfurion is also quite a good boss zoning character because he can use his Twilight Dream to silence everyone who tries to commit. And sometimes if you time your silence correctly, let's just say hypothetically, because obviously Tyrael's on BlossoM's team, but say L5 wants to Allage Ruins in and Sank, if you actually hit that Twilight Dream perfectly, the Sank doesn't go off and you win the fight. There's just moments like that.
Actually, last Sunday, we just saw some amazing plays at Kursala from GG, where Tyrael just went in with Hurley Ground, and even popped that Sank, and Falstad came in from the left and gusted the entire team. They ended up winning the last game onto the series, so we might actually see them again coming out from BlossoM.
Variant ban is quite unusual.
I think they may actually bring out some squishy heroes such as Li Ming and maybe even... No, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of Tracer for someone.
What melee would you really be afraid of Varian with? Zeratil's already removed.
I think they're just removing a very hard CC with the taunt coming in with the charge.
I think I think you're right, and I think they're looking towards, again, kind of narrowing down the tank pool. Li Ming will be banned for sure, and that's going to stop L5 from doing really heavy pushing with Dehaka, because Dehaka is a lot easier to push with than Falstad is. By the way, we have these new skin tents as well, like really cool. Like that, the detail on Dehaka is pretty awesome. It's actually cool to see that in the pro draft. But I was gonna say, if you take the Li Ming, Nazeebo comes out. It's kind of a catch-22. So I think that Li Ming is stronger in this situation, especially because L5 doesn't take long games against teams it's better than most of the time. But I think that now we're going to have a game where we do have SC on the Nazeebo. He's so good on it right now. I might just see Nitrogen on the Tychus.
Nitrogen can control lots of heroes, and I like this choice from BlossoM. Taking away Li Ming, and L5 has lots of hard CCs, and it feels very like they're going to go for the burst, and giving another critical mass trait to Li Ming will just have her potentially just give her burst, even more burst damage. So Li Ming ban seems to be better than Nazeebo, and BlossoM also has global to catch up.
So there's the Nazeebo. We expected Lucio will be picked as the healer, as you called out earlier, and there's not the big worry of CCs against the comp that BlossoM has. This is not the stun meta anymore. I know that it might feel like that when you're playing quick match and you got matched up against the stun team, but in pro play, this is no longer the quote-unquote stun meta, I feel. It's hard to really define this meta in one word, but especially because now we're on the Genji patch and it's a completely different meta that's going to be created. But anyways,
it's called 2.0.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like that.
Sums everything up.
So
I love it.
I imagine L5's last hero will be Tychus, unless BlossoM takes that away here. So that's something they're definitely taking a look at. Alternatively, they might just pick up the ETC once again. Well, they could do both technically, but I think they're really considering the ETC with this. Oh, Stitches! He got buffed. He's actually buffed on this patch
Stitches
too.
does not want armor. He wants to play with more HP.
Cassia.
Here we go.
So we're going to see this. BlossoM is trying everything. I had a feeling we were going to have a night like this, G-Clef.
We saw some Cassia from Open Division Korea, and BlossoM is also the first Open Division team to bring Zarya in when Zarya was available. So we like this very new picks coming out. Yep.
That's, of course, the amateur division, but still, we're seeing it now in pro. We saw it with the Chinese region as well. It's E-Star tried to play it against EC. So it did not work well for E-Star. It was Savage on the hero. In this case, you have to imagine it's going to be Wiz on this, unless they roll swap. Stitches got a health pool buff and a regen buff.
And also slight damage on Slam, I believe, and that's it. Stitches did not get any armor. That's You just want more HP
Rip.
every single time.
So let's see if it's just the Tychus. That's what I really expect here. Medivh! Okay, this is getting a little bit weird.
Wow.
They just want to protect targets hooked, I suppose.
I think it's going to be protect Nazeebo until the late game and Nazeebo solo DPS all the way. That's what they're looking for.
Wow, well this is going to be a long game for sure. I feel like it's going to be very difficult for L5 to win this off of the Siege Giants into double tribute boss timing that the winning teams in this league have so consistently been able to pull off on this map. See if this crazy draft with the Stitches is going to be enough to take BlossoM into a tied series as we go into game number 2 on Cursed Hollow. In blue, Scarlet on Malfurion, Dudu on Cassia, Wiz on the Tyrael, in fact, Judy on Stitches, and No Chat on Falstad. So Wiz going to stick to his solo laning.
And in red, L5 SCSC on the Haka, Nachojin on the Nazeebo, Jungha on Medivh, Noblesse on Moradin, and Swoy on Lucio.
In terms of Swoy, this will now be his 4th game of Lucio career-wise. Not as much played games as Hyde, for example, has played a lot more Lucio. And even Merryday has a higher played Lucio. So the name of the game, I suppose, for the Medivh is just going to be protect the Nazeebo and also protect anyone that gets hooked.
For L5.
Speaking of which, there's the protection.
And even speed boost to make sure Noblesse can get out of the danger zone.
SC already clearing this first wave. And no minions missed for No Chat, so good timing here. Gonna get all 7.
BlossoM, I think they're looking for. This Cassia will be a very poking build coming out, Q build coming out from this Cassia from Dudu. As Dudu is one of the popular Korean players with Lala. It's kind of similar in a way, I would say, with that Q poke. And the way you can roll into, you can just dive into the target and finish her off. Finish the damage off.
So I've been, and I'm by no means a 5th as good as Dudu even, or a 10th as good, or maybe even a 50th as good as, but I've been running the Q build into kind of upgrading Fend later on, as just does so much damage in the late game. But if you could hit these shots consistently like Dudu is right now, you can see he's going to start racking up the damage. Just makes her a more consistent poker, because, you know, you think of her as a melee, but she's actually ranged. It's just that she functions kind of like a melee because she dives in. It's kind of a funky hero that Cassia is. She's one of the more unique ones in this game. Is, you know, she has to kind of close distance. She doesn't have as much range as other ranged assassins do, actually.
And slower attack speed also.
Yes. And she doesn't, her trait actually doesn't do well against the spider damage that's going to come out from Nazeebo. It's only armor against basic attacks. So kind of funny how this this draft plays out. I feel like when you look at BlossoM's draft, it's like, okay, well, this is a little bit crazy, but I don't look at it and go, oh, okay, I totally see what you're trying to do. I just feel like there's some experimentation here for sure.
Some things they're actually trying to do is really trusting in Judy's hooks to have Scarlet root the perfect target. Of course, with this trio, they will not likely to actually get so much pick, but because there's a protect coming out from Medivh all the time, I think it's gonna make it a lot tougher, and I think that is exactly why L5 picked Medivh, to have that protect to cancel out that burst when the target is hooked and rooted at the same time.
Ooh, gets that giant accuracy right there, man. Knocked that giant right out, man. It's a solo push now. There's only one giant in this wave. Taken out. Look at that. Dealt with that minion push super easy. So actually, SC's get bullied up here in the top lane as well. So might see the rotation down by SC to help deal with this. So the first tribute of the game. No siege no siege push by BlossoM could have made this a lot stronger in the top lane. We're gonna see the commitment in here. Scarlet very low. Swan wanted to get the last shots there. I think one more Sonic shot would have done it. Nice hook here, but again the protects are immediate coming out from Jungha. And you can see the blind here, but no follow-up fend from Dudu as Jungha just scans to see if BlossoM players are going to rotate in.
Ooh, Dudu actually got ring at 4. He wants to go for blind. He wants to get some blind onto Nazeebo. Actually, also to cancel out all the auto attack damage later on into the game.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be powerful if he can consistently hit it.
It's really hard to hit the blind, but once you hit it, you will have a lot of the damage loss coming out from the opponent.
It just has such a long cast time, you know. It's very easy to dodge as well.
Just like that.
Does hit it here though, yeah. It's Noxergen, but it's only temporary, and that's the big issue. Obviously, that's what he's trying to change building into this at level 4. And he has been hitting his Qs really well. I'd love to see where that is at right now. So, level 7 to 7. It's not the stunning lead that L5 would have wanted, having trouble in the top lane, but this time Comp doesn't really allow counter ganking, so normally No Chat wouldn't be able to be this aggressive because it would be too risky, it'd be ganked or pressured. But with the comp that L5 has, there's just not really any way to gank or pressure him. They're just kind of trying to do the same or at least close to an even amount, a more comparable amount of damage. Alright, sorry about that one, guys. You're in the bot lane with an Nazeebo push.
So also something small that's going to matter a lot later on. If it's quicker or slower, it's going to be Master's Touch completed later on Jungha. It's going to take some time. If he dies, he loses all the stacks. But if he doesn't, he can complete the quest, and having that quest completed can boost a lot of damage on that Q.
Yeah, forcing the portal out. I think he was scared of the Fend coming in. There it is. I feel like it's the first one we've seen all game long. Still not too powerful with no blind on it. Did upgrade it at 7, which is super powerful. It boosts the amount of damage taken when you're below half health.
Oh, it's rooted. We'll get all the stacks removed from Master's Touch just like that. Yep. A great root coming out from Scarlet at later time, actually.
Without the portal being cast, it would have been a double kill as well onto Swoy. And BlossoM actually takes a pretty big lead in this game. Finally, we're going to see this gank attempt. There's the grab. Good coordination here.
That's a kill for sure. Even that. Oh, actually, does not have the CC. He has to use Gust and go away.
LC tried to lick him, tried to grab him.
Well, the CCs were used already to grab him initially.
Yep. Looks like he wanted to try again, but it was just really well done. That's all I'm saying.
Are you losing your mind right now?
Yeah. Chase the base completed too, pretty early here.
Power wall ride. We see a lot of wall ride, especially from Spoy, Merryday, and Hyde. Those 3 Lucios are the man. They keep on harassing with those wall rides.
Okay, this is a big leyline seal opportunity. Look at this. Gets a 4-man. There's the follow-up though. Nice zombie wall here onto Wiz. He's the target. Protection coming in. Big Twilight Dream though. And there's some fend potential here for Dudu. They need to back off.
Genshin also got a slight nerf on the health pool.
Yeah, I read the patch notes. I think at the bottom the developer note said, "Please use Ravenous, please, please." I think that's what the developer note said.
Spirit. Did happen a few times.
Yeah.
In here also.
That's right. So, this is now still curse point for L5. They had that amazing ley line, but there's not enough damage to even get the kill onto Wiz. And it's just this comp needs more time to properly scale, as we said earlier. You only have solo damage DPS, or solo DPS, the Zebo, and when you lose your Master's Touch early on, as we saw already from Jungha, it's very painful. It takes a long time to build that up. You will be able to get it eventually, but that early pickoff is really huge for BlossoM as they try to slow down the ramping up of the scaling. They're ahead a level. And they want to take this next tribute to threaten Curse Point. They're going to get this top fort as well, which is going to further their EXP lead. It's at like 1% health. I don't even think, like, when I look at this move by Noblesse, I'm not entirely sure what L5 could try to accomplish with this.
It's super hard to actually get a pick off. They do not have the burst damage, not yet. And of course, Medivh dying in the beginning, lost all the Master's Touch. And also, it's really hard to get a pick on Falstad. They tried, but not Noblesse. Nochad did a fine job of getting out of that trap.
They even have Perfect Storm, obviously, to continue to grow and stack and scale into the late game. So Nitrogen gets that. Sorry, not Nitrogen. Noblesse gets that extra Q a second ago, just continuing to harass as best as he can. This is a tough position for BlossoM to break into. It's actually a really favorable spawn for L5, and look at how much damage SC is able to do with the split push. There's finally that fork going down. L5's still nowhere near 13.
They need to hit 13, or they still have one more space to actually stall this. So all they have to do is just stall some time, as the Haka will also push the bot lane a little bit more. Looks like he wants to join the fight. There's a big gust coming out from Nochad.
Okay, also the bio coming in. Sanctification, though, not insanely useful here, as we do see a grab onto Dudu. He's going to go down. Doesn't even get to cast his heroic there. That orb could have done some extra damage for them in the fight. Leyline Seal going to prevent the retreat. Noblesse wants to go in here. Very nice that Malfurion escaped, but still, look at the chases on here, even using the portal. Nochad is going to go down, and suddenly his composition from L5 starts to look a little bit deadly. That flank from SC starting things off great for them, and that was all she wrote once they got the first pick. And there's Master's Touch now. Can't be taken away from him.
Wow, Jonga, what a play. I think that one portal let them escape from everything, and BlossoM was like, where'd they go? Where'd they go? And then Dudu tried to look for them, look for the target, and ended up becoming the target for L5 there. Losing all of their damage, and BlossoM really couldn't. They just had to retreat from that point on.
So they timed because they got so many kills, they timed the curse with the boss push. They are working already towards mid, forcing Tyrell actually up in the top lane, so Wiz is just trying to do what he can in that 1v1 situation where this push continues. The bot push is going to finish off that fort very quickly, and they're very fine with just dropping Gargantuan here and pushing down this mid wall. So Noblesse takes a ton of damage, but that's exactly who they want to be eating the damage, because he will just heal it right back up, as you can see already. They're looking to dive and get a pick. Look at Jonga's positioning here. He does get hooked. Shields himself, though.
There's a protection and just a safety sound barrier coming out from Swoy's Lucio.
Yep, and the Leyline Seal comes in. Unfortunately, this was not very coordinated. SC with the flank tries to force it. It will have to portal away. Nitrogen actually not in range of the portal. I think Nochad was looking for the fly-in and gust, but with Curse still up for a few more seconds, he thinks better of it and cancels the flight.
There's all the heals coming out from Scarlet. At least they have Malfurion. The longer they fight, they would actually love to fight longer, because they do have the sustained healing coming out. And with those, there's a nice grab onto Nitrogen. Not much of a follow, I believe Root was used a few seconds ago.
So realistically, they only got 2 forts from this, actually. This is pretty good on the defense for BlossoM. The power of Stitches is not always who he hooks, with the power of knowing that he can hook and that you have to be positioned against such a move. He's going to look for one right now. Gets Noblesse, sadly. Not the hook he wanted. Portal here to allow them to chase, but now can't be used defensively. Sanctification, perhaps too early used there. That was super aggressive. Noblesse actually going to use Avatar here under shield. There's a nice pick onto Swoy, but again, the protection from Jonga is just too good.
Wow. What a great play. And Noblesse actually dives in and hits that W and heals himself instead. And he knows that he's going to get the protection coming out from Medivh. What a nice communication coming out from L5. And now I believe their power is coming along with Nazeebo, of course. And after finishing the Master's Touch on Medivh, even Medivh's Q keeps on doing a lot of poking.
So Holy Ground is super important here now. So they can use this to control the boss. And that's the window of time we're looking for. So they got 16 before L5 could contest boss. Now that it's up, it's a little bit puzzling even that L5 continues to be so aggressively positioned here, as BlossoM is now the official Busan police force every time they mount up. Hear that sound. So
That's partially also because their sponsor is based on from Busan. They would love to have that. And now with the Pierce on Dutu's Cassia is going to be doing a lot more damage with the constant hook. They want to fight for a longer time. There's a great hook, but does not root.
Yeah, it's actually, you could see Nitrogen wanted him to hit the zombie wall instead. That was a pretty cool self-cast there. Okay, Dudu's going in, but the portal comes up before he can get the pick. Wanted to do that fen damage there. Is not able to find it. Favorable spawn here for BlossoM's Tribute, but it's not going to be enough to get them a curse, unfortunately, since they only have one. Still, L5 looks to contest, as you can see in the mid lane. SC is trying to soak up as many stacks as possible before, or sorry, it's Nitrogen this time on the Nazebo, before level 20, so you can get that Vile Infection immediately. Be 25 more than before.
SC comes out from the side. They're just stalling time because they do have better laning on top and mid also.
Well, SC's coming in for the fight. Falstad does escape. Ends up being a pretty favorable trade for L5. Nice ice block here by Nitrogen to ensure he gets out. Look at that spider damage, and he has cooldown reduction at this health. He wants the kill onto Dudu. Noblesse comes in. Nice holy ground by Wiz, actually. That was a really good reaction to trying to turn this around. Here comes the sound barrier. The gust completely wasted, mind you.
There's a ley line seal to stall all the time, and looks like they want to find the target, but is blinded by Dudu for a second. Longer the fight goes on, I think it's a little bit better for BlossoM if they can have the sustain, but they're taking more damage. That's the problem for them.
Ooh, Dudu caught here once more. Super low, can't participate in the fight. Hook on the Swoy, immediately the teleport coming down, and that's going to be the first kill onto Wiz. Nitrogen is not afraid of anything up here at the front lines. And they will actually even up the tribute count 1-to-1. And they're going to take this boss as well. With no Holy Ground or Sanctification, the only tool that BlossoM would have is Gust. They're going to have it in 15, but I'm not sure that's going to be in time, as L5 is really trying to rush this down. They're posturing around the edge here. 5 seconds for that Gust, but he's up in the top lane. L5 knows he doesn't have it, and they're just going to commit to the boss. Now it's going to look for a keep, actually.
Sometimes if you know that enemy is going to take it for sure, that it's better to just give up and try to go to other lanes and soak up EXP a little bit more, because you will end up wasting your time anyhow. So, but BlossoM, of course, having Falstad pushing top the entire time, they were soaking EXP a lot.
Yeah, you got Season Marksman now, so it's a big power spike for BlossoM in terms of team fighting, because he's going to need to be here for the team fight. If that's going to happen, he wants to greedily grab the tribute, but during this time, he's still not here. Leyline Seal's going up. Gargantuan in the fight as well. So much damage here.
There's the Sang Pop. Falstad did get the tribute on top. What a lucky spawn for BlossoM, but that's not going to be enough, as they are actually looking for a core here.
I think it might actually cost them the game if he doesn't come down. He finally gets in here.
He does have Gust available, but Sanctification is already used. There's a great Gust, but the portal is just perfectly placed for all the time for L5 to escape from any kind of CC.
I would love to know the stat on how much damage was protected by Zhongai in this game, because literally so many cooldowns have been wasted on his one. His one invulnerability protection talent that has a tiny cooldown. We have seen so much, so many grabs, so many good hooks from Judy just completely nullified. And then a portal comes up, perfectly placed, and you just see whatever juicy target BlossoM got excited about was just yanked away from them just as fast as he was yanked in. This is going to be curse point now for L5. That's one small consolation for BlossoM, because Falstad did commit to grabbing that tribute last time. It's not going to be a curse against them, but the next tribute will be one. L5 has the boss available. Sanctification still on cooldown. Doesn't look like they want to commit, though. They already have a keep. They already have that pressure. No reason to take the boss first. They'd rather take the tribute, take the curse, then take the boss.
Vile Infection already completed, even with that 25 more stacks needed for the question to complete.
175 over 150. The new nerf to Nazebo. Still not enough to stop SC. Sorry, it's Nitrogen this time. It's been SC so many times. He's playing the Dahaka in this game. My brain just thinks about it that way.
Now they're just getting all the camps, making the map into red, and they can also still stall a lot of time during this tribute. because they are already 20. BlossoM is looking for 20, but their camp is pushing a lot of lanes.
This bot push is really annoying to deal with, but this is a really good tribute spawn for BlossoM because they can clear this push while also, you know, taking this fight over the tribute. The top cap is also good for them because it's on the opposite side of the tribute, which means that SUs on the Dahaka will actually have to clear that before coming down. So they kind of have all the tools in the book in terms of the map, but can they win the fight anyways? Having the advantage is only half of the battle due to actually taking a lot of damage before this fight even begins. Sway looking for the channel. Noblesse blocking. Aldruins will interrupt, but will he be able to interrupt a second time? I don't think it'll be worth it. He commits. Will it cost him his life here?
He goes all the way in, and Dahaka joins the fight, and there's the great holy ground, but there's a leyline seal to stall some time. Pick on to Judy. Some damage is done to Judy. Hook does miss.
Another holy ground used here super aggressively.
Sanctification is popped.
Ooh, this is a lot of damage coming out. Sanctification really helpful here, but now that they're unable to get any kills, Sound Barrier comes up, Noblesse pops his Hardened Shield, he is going in, and they are looking for the channel right after this fight, and it looks like it's a fight that there's no way BlossoM can win. They just want to escape if they can. Dudu tries to 1v1 Jungha, it's not gonna happen.
Protection is real, that Medivh will not go down. Actually, NoTech goes in for the flight, Swoy knows this for sure, and NoTech can't really. There's no escape even from Swoy because Lucy on that speed boost is just amazing.
I think this is. They just knew the game was over probably, so they tried to do something sneaky to. If they lose this tribute, they lose the game. So why not at least hope that maybe L5 didn't notice, or maybe we get the curse. But not going to be enough. But L5 will win the second game here with some good team fighting. The scaling Vile Infection finally completes. And L5 is going to crush this core now. 7 kills to 1. So they want to clean this out with a 3-0 sweep. They've got the 2 now. Comparative. Oh, put that back up there. Don't tease me like that. I want to see the full story. I want to see that protection coming out from Jungha. That's GG. One of our longer games on Cursed Hollow, 2047 with the comps chosen. But the longer game was definitely in favor of L5. They take it. Take a 2-0 victory, and they'll have map pick for game number 3. BlossoM with some cool concepts so far in terms of understanding the new patch, but seems that L5 has all the answers.